What up?
What it
Peace,
do?
peace.
Peace,
Welcome
peace.
everyone to Hip Hop Talks. You're tuned in to a special Monday edition of Hip Hop Talks because it's the 2-year anniversary of the classic, modern classic, great album KD3 by Nasir Jones, produced by Hit Boy. So we wanted to pull up tonight on the anniversary and give a special, look back at the album, give our takes on it, do a deep dive, you know. Is the album still holding the weight it did when it first dropped? I'm with the homie Sean. I'm AG. Coop will be pulling up shortly. And let's get into it. Let's talk about this album.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to the Station Head. We just finished Station Head. We did a Station Head last night. We actually did the samples from KD3 last night on Station Head. We played all the Station Head. All the samples from KD3 on Station Head last night that we pull back up again tonight, and we ended up doing a KD3 run through again, listening party. Kind of getting back to our Station Head roots. Those of you who follow us on YouTube, if you've never been on Station Head with us, please log into our Station Head and our Discourse. Our Discord, Hip Hop Talks Discord, the Hip Hop Talks Station Head. Play all the music, great conversations, great banter, laughs, all of those things. So shout out to our Station Head family. They really pulled up tonight, had a great time, got through a lot of requests. We played KD3 straight through. Then we had some other requests came through. Had a good time tonight coming up into tonight's special show. So yeah, shout out to our Station Head and our Discord.
Yeah, no doubt. It felt good to be back on Station Head again, man. So yeah, we got to start doing that more often.
Absolutely. That's where it started, man. When we started, having hip hop conversations, we were having it over music. We were listening to the music in real time. It kind of started out, for those who don't know, when we started out with the Station Head, myself and Taj, we started working on getting everything prepped for the KD series run and the Magic series run, of course. So we wanted to boost the streams for Nas and Hit Boy during that time period, about a year or two ago, and about close to 2 years now. And part of that plan was to get on Station Head, play the music, to stream Nas music as much as possible, because we wanted to show up and show love. We wanted to make sure that we get it in the algorithm, get people all in one, in one room to start streaming the music, to get the streams up, all those great things. That was the plan. That was all we planned to do. That's all we planned to do. We was going to just stay on Station Head, play Nas songs, get some artists to come up, play their music. We had David Kim on Station Head when Magic, I think it was Magic 2 or Magic 2 dropped. We had David Kim, the engineer for Magic 2 and Magic 3 in the KD series. We had him on there. We had some great guests, some great interviews on Station Head, actually, that we're going to start bringing over here to YouTube. But that's the foundation. Station Head is the foundation. So definitely shout out to our Station Head family. Shout out to those guys.
Facts. Let's get into this album, man. 2-year anniversary, King's Disease 3, the final album of the trilogy, and the 4th album overall in the Nas and Hit Boy 6-album run.
Indeed. Phenomenal album.
Yeah. So I hope y'all out there supported the album when it came out. If you didn't then, now's your opportunity to run those streams up now. Let's give a little visual aid real quick. You know what I'm saying? This is how much I love this album. Got the cassette joint. You know what I'm saying? Right here. Top that. See that? The CD joint. Right here. Got that. And of course, got the vinyl. You know what I mean? This is how fire that album is. I got it on all different music mediums.
Yeah, as you should. Absolutely.
Yes, so, Sean, what do you think overall about the KD album, just in synopsis? Like, take us back to the night that it dropped, 11/11, 2 years ago today, and how did you feel when you first heard the album?
And it's funny because we were working on a lot of different things leading up to the album. KD2 was special, of course, and we was actually in the middle of the Magic series at that time as well. And a lot of the energy we were focusing on really was prepping for KD3. When I say we, you know what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the energy was on how can we start putting some things together to get I referenced Stationhead earlier, to get Stationhead prepared for the actual album release itself.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the concerts were still going on. Madison Square Garden was being locked in, so there was some planning around that. There's a lot of different things we're trying to get prepared for the album. So trying to understand that side of the business of it, and also trying to understand how can we get the algorithms moving for the album and get the streams up and all of those things. It was a beautiful thing because it kind of put you in a position organically to really process the music, to really process KD3 in a different light, really song by song, because we were playing them so much. We were playing them over because we was getting the streams up.
Right.
And I'm be honest, man, when I heard the first run through, it was like, man, it's like a Victory Lab album. This is like, we already on Magic 1, we got KD 1, we got KD 2. We were in Magic 2, I believe, past Magic 2 as well. And it was like, man, this is the Victory Lap. Like, this is a combination of everything from the past year and a half to 2 years captured in a well-completed album.
Mm-hmm.
The album was so well orchestrated, the sequencing, everything that you want a solid album to have, it checked all the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
You had the concept music, you had the anthems, you had the joint for the ladies, you had the street joints. Everything that Nas, if he had like a list up on a vision board, and that vision board said, I want you to hit this, this, and this, and this, I felt like KD3 was checking them off as they went along. Him and Hit Boy. One check. Samples, one check. Street anthem, one check. Song for the ladies, one check. Song for the streets, one check. Everything just seemed like it was just like that. And when you start hearing the process on how they made the actual album itself, it puts you more in awe, because you're like, damn, they didn't have that checklist. They were just vibing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're vibing like that and you curate a phenomenal album like that, Grammy nominated, of course, should have won Album of the Year. Maybe I'm being biased, but that's how I felt. Should have won Album of the Year. But to me, it captured the creativity of Nas and Hit Boy as a collective, not as one entity or one source, as a collective.
Right. I agree with that wholeheartedly, bro. And I'm glad you brought up that point, because for me it was more amazement. When I heard this album, it was going track for track, and I was just like, damn, like, he's doing it again. Because mind you, we're coming off of Magic 1 that dropped, the year before, and on Christmas Eve. So you fast forward to November of 22, and we get this joint. Magic 1 is the bar. You know what I'm saying? Because Magic 1, a lot of us felt like it was a classic. So you get to KD3, and I was just in amazement because, Hit Boy and Nas had a great synergy on KD1, KD2, and Magic 1. You know what I'm saying? But it was a progression. It went up. It was trending up. But when I heard Magic 1, I was like, man, it can't get better than this. And then KD3 dropped, and homie said on the intro, he said KD3 go harder than all of them. You know what I'm saying? So he was putting his stamp on that joint in the intro. And I'm like, you don't say that unless you know you got the product to deliver.
Yes.
And I was just in amazement. I think this was their zenith, like when they really hit their stride, and Hit Boy was at his best and Nas was at his best. And, they were in stride with one another perfectly. And over 17 tracks. Like I said, Magic 1 was perfect as well, but it was only a 9-track album. This is 17 tracks with no features.
For Dolo, yeah.
A stellar job by Nas and Hit Boy. And I just think they kept pushing and challenging each other to take their heights to new heights. You know what I mean? And I think they achieved that on this album. And I think it gained classic status. So that brings me to my next question. Currently, looking back at it, over the past 2 years, is your rating of the album the same as what it was 2 years ago? And what would that rating be?
Man, I think I rate it a little bit higher because of the way it has legs. You know, I always talk about albums. Does it have staying power? Does it have legs? Does it stand the test of time? 2 years removed, it has legs. We played it, you know, we played the samples last night on Station Head.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You know, we played the album straight through tonight on Station Head. And it sounded as fresh and sharp and crisp as it did when we first heard it the first time. You know what I mean? That means it has great legs. And to me, because of that, I have to raise the rating on it again. Not a high, you know, not a high clip, but I still have to raise the rating level because it still have staying power. You know what I mean? I can still play this effortlessly.
So what was your initial rating compared to now?
I think I had a 4.5.
Okay.
A 4.5. Because I think during that, when I was thinking about it back then, I was thinking about, man, I wish we had like maybe 1 or 2 features on there that kind of give it some more punch or give it an extra punch. But then I realized after, you know, a couple more listens, I felt like, okay, that wasn't needed. We didn't need to have, you know, a feature. It was intentional to have no features at all. And I felt like at that time, 4.5 made more sense. But again, listening to it again, listening to a Station Head group, seeing how people respond to it all over again, I'm like, man, it still sounds fresh. And the songs feel like they add more flair to it now, 2 years ago, 2 years removed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, I had it at a 5 out of the gate. And, you know, a lot of times when you do that, people say you're a prisoner of the moment. But shout out to Coop. You know, he should be pulling up soon. Coop always speaks to, does an album have a classic feel? Because it can have, you know, dope production, dope bars, but does it have that classic feel? Kings of These 3, every time you play it, it has that classic feel to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a 5 mic classic to me. I think it's their best effort then, and to me that still holds true today, 2 years later. And I think the most amazing part of it for me is I was watching the Hit Boy interview, and he was talking about the making of the album. Like I said, this is 17 tracks, and Hit Boy thought himself that the album was done, and then Nas was going tour, and then came back off tour and was like, nah, it's not finished. We got to add some more joints. And Hit Boy was like, you know what I'm saying? It's a banger as is, but Nah was like, we need some more. And I think if my memory serves correctly, he made Serious Interlude, I'm on Fire, WTF SMH, and the bonus track Till My Last Breath after he came off a tour. You know what I'm saying? Just the extended track list. And that's like amazing to me, to like be in such a groove that you could take time out, go on a tour, and then come back and not even miss a step, because all those are pretty fire tracks. You know what I mean? So yeah, so when we're talking about the rating of the album, where would you rank it in as far as the pantheon of Nas and Hit Boy? You know, if we're ranking that 6-album run, where does KD3 fall for you?
So, you know, KD2 holds a special place in my heart. I mean, but I can concede to the fact that this one is more complete than KD2, right? Just, you know, me keeping it down the middle, I would have to put it number 1. I'll put it number 1. This is like 1A, and Magic to me is 1B, and Magic is 1C.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's so crazy. It's so close. You know what I mean? KD3 1A, Magic 1B, and I could change my thoughts on that tomorrow. I can come back tomorrow and say, yo, Magic is 1A, KD3 is 1B, and KD3 1-3, and Magic 3 is 1C.
Yeah, splitting hairs really.
Splitting hairs with it. Depends on how I feel. We can go back and listen to Magic right now, and I'll be like, oh, I don't know, man. It's Magic 1 might be the one, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's special. KD3 got to be number 1.
Right. And, you know, I'm glad you brought up Magic could be number 1, but it's just more impressive if you're able to maintain the level of greatness over, you know, an extended track list. You know what I mean? Because albums that have 17 tracks and, you know, in that ballpark, they tend to be a little bloated. And you could say, well, I could do without this song. They could cut this one, cut that one. It's like really no fat on here. Yeah, I mean, it's a bonus track. The bonus track might be the last one, the least best one on the album, but it's a bonus. You know what I'm saying? It's no other fat on this album that really needs to be trimmed.
Right.
And it's definitely an experience. And it takes you for a ride all the way through. The sequencing is flawless.
Absolutely.
Flawless.
Absolutely. And even that bonus track, we played the sample from it last night, and we was listening to that sample like, yo, that's a crazy sample. And now you listen to the bonus tonight. I appreciate the bonus track more tonight after listening to that sample last night than I did 2 years ago.
Right. Now, if you're a Mets fan, that hit different out of the gate. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, word. So now comes the difficult question. Where does KD3 rank personally in Nas's discography? Do you think it's good enough to crack the top 5?
Damn, AG. I think it does, man. What you got? What? It was written, Illmatic. Not in order, but just it was written. We got Illmatic. We got Stillmatic.
I think those are widely regarded as the top 3. So you're really talking about
the Trinity. That's the first one.
Yeah. You're really talking about, does it fall at 4 or 5?
It gotta be. If I'm taking all bias aside and me just keeping it down the middle, it's definitely in that top 5. And that says a lot. It might be 4. It might be 4. Because
it's 4 for me. If I'm being totally honest, I got it ranked 4th. And 5th for me would be the Lost Tapes.
I forgot about the Lost Tapes, but do you put Magic? Do you put Magic in that?
All right, so if we're going beyond the 5, just on the outside of the top 5 looking in, I got Magic 3 at 6 and Magic 1 at 7.
You got Magic 3 over Magic 1?
Yes.
Nah, I got Magic 1 over Magic 3.
I think Magic 3 is more of a complete album, and as dope as Magic 1 is, Magic 3 makes Magic 1 sound more mixtape-ish to me, if I'm being honest,
I love that. I love that about Magic 1 though.
Right. It's raw, it's pure uncut, but he does so many things on Magic 3 that, I can't put it below Magic 1.
Yeah, Magic 3 was showing off. Magic 3, he's showing off at this point, right?
It was the dope swan song. That was the perfect, way to, put an end to the run for the moment. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully everybody dialing 1-800-NAS and hitting it, they'll spin the block and revisit this. But yeah, I definitely got KD3 ranked 4th in Nas's discography. And that's not even hyperbole. The album is that good.
Yeah.
Like if you did a track by track comparison, like if you did, a versus with Stillmatic would have a hard time. Stillmatic would have a fight on his hands.
Stillmatic will have a hard time, but if you think about the highs on Stillmatic, and I guess for me, maybe if I'm stripping away everything, and I'm just saying song for song, yes, Stillmatic will have a hard time, right? It won't be easy, but when I add in the other elements on what Stillmatic meant at that time, and again, it's like one of those things where can you talk about Stillmatic properly in its proper form without mentioning the impact and the pressure of Stillmatic? You know what I'm saying? It's hard to talk about Stillmatic and say, well, Stillmatic can be compartmentalized for music and not for what it's really about and what it really meant and the gravity of the climate at that time.
That gives it the win for me, but
exactly.
But KD3 doesn't have the lows that Stillmatic has.
And that's what lows Stillmatic has, or what lows you were referring to. Hold up, slow down. What are you talking about? What lows are Stillmatic?
Well, of course, you got to mention Braveheart Party.
Braveheart Party. Yeah.
Braveheart Party.
I never was a huge fan of smoking.
Are you smoking?
I don't smoke, but I'm just saying I never was a huge fan of that song. But and then a lot of people, I like Rule, but a lot of people don't mess with Rule like that.
I've heard people talk about Rule.
Yeah. But the highs are just way too high to overtake Stillmatic. What's good, Coop?
What up, people? How are you?
What's good?
KD3 Day.
Yes, sir.
Coop part from the bathroom. That's
I'm in the airport, fool. I'm on the escalator. Ain't nobody's no damn bathroom.
Are
I
you
ain't about
are
to get
you
off.
are you riding the track that just carries you through, or actually are your legs moving? Or are you walking?
I'm on the escalator. That's the walkway.
Oh, okay,
I'll be on the walkway shortly though. Because I
okay.
don't think because if I get on the train, I'm not gonna be able to hear y'all. I don't
It's
think.
gonna look like you levitate.
It
But
is gonna
cool.
look like it's gonna look like a Spike Lee joint.
That's right. Coop Lee joy.
Cooply joy.
Floating in this bitch. Y'all talked about the event, the Southern Soul Music Fest already, I'm assuming.
We have it. We're probably
Okay.
gonna but that's a Thursday, cool.
Yeah, we'll save that for Thursday show. We doing all just KD3 stuff
It's all
tonight.
KD. Are we all KD with it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Coop, you wanna speak to how you felt about King's Disease initially in the moment when it first dropped, and what do you feel listening to it 2 years later? Does your initial feeling of the album still stand?
Of KD3 or King's
Yes.
Disease? Of KD3?
KD3. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I will tell you. It's easy to let your bias take over because there's a difference between somebody being your favorite MC and you objectively thinking that somebody is the greatest MC. He is personally my favorite MC, and I have an objective opinion where I think he is the greatest MC of all time. My objective mind tells me that this album is still a classic and one of the better rap albums made in the last 10 years. And so I'm not going to dispute that. I think the argument is more based on, well, how classic is the nature of this? Because when I listen to it again today, all the way through, there are classic songs on here. The song
Mhm.
Run from Legit to 30, those are all classic songs at this point.
Absolutely.
Reminisce, classic. Um, and then I think there is a stretch of songs, and there are probably about 4 or 5 songs on there, where if he's not your personal favorite MC and you're objectively grading it, I can see where you wouldn't hold it as high as somebody like me. Stuff like Recession Proof, I'm on Fire, like those are dope records,
Recession
but I
Proof is
don't
my favorite on there, actually.
see. But this is what I mean though. Like, is that your objective mind or your personal mind telling you that? Because objectively, when I listened to it today, I was like, well, I like Recession Proof because I understand what he's doing. But you got to look at it like the
Mhm.
average hip hop listener. The average hip hop listener looks at Recession Proof and is like, no, that's not on the level of Thun or Legit or Mike and Quincy. And I think those objective people might be right. And so I think it's still a classic. I think it's one of those classics that has about 7 classic records and about 7 really good records, and really not any skips. Definitely high points for
Yeah.
going solo the whole time. At this stage in your career, going solo, they're personal, and I think this album is personalized depending on what people like too. It's like you spoke to like in Recession Proof. Well, Serious Interlude is my shit,
Mhm.
but but
Yeah. Yeah.
but objectively, that might be one of people's least favorite songs, but I love that record. But that's because I personally relate to that record, and that's what I mean about the objectivity. And so I think the question is more, where does it rank as a classic for its modern day times? Like, when I think modern day, I think modern day rap starts with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye in terms of classic albums. That's
Mhm.
my barometer for a modern day classic. And so, with that being the barometer for a modern day classic, I am pretty certain that this album would crack the top 10 for 10 best albums since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And that's over an almost 15-year period. And I think that speaks to the quality of the album more than anything else.
Absolutely. Would you say it's the best album of the 2020 so far?
Um, what would be your number one if this isn't number one? Pick a Nas album that's not number one. Because I would tell you that KD3 and Magic are both in the running.
I would say Magic 3 as well.
I don't think Magic 3 is there yet. I think it's going to need time like it was written. But I would tell you, when I think of KD3, my barometer for the 2020s is actually Alfredo and Pray for Paris and From a King to a God. And the only album that I listen to more than KD3 of those 3 is probably Alfredo. So do you think KD3 is better than Alfredo?
Easily.
Easily
And I
for
love
me.
Alfredo.
I love Alfredo. Well, if you're telling me that it's better than Alfredo Easy, then it's winning Best Rap Album of the 2020s. Because I think Alfredo objectively might have a better case than the Griselda albums. I'm gonna let y'all talk for a second because I gotta hop on the train.
All right.
Yep.
No, I agree. I think that for me, I think KD3 is competing with Nas with Magic 1, if I'm being honest with you. When you're talking about, the 2020s, I love Alfredo. I give y'all hell about Freddie, but I love Alfredo. But I still, I don't think Alfredo was better than Magic 1. If I'm keeping the buck.
Yeah, no, I take Magic 1 over Alfredo as well.
Yeah, I will. Like, first 5 songs on Magic 1 is beating out everything, to me, my opinion, on Alfredo. Straight up. Straight up.
No. The intro on Alfredo is better than the intro on KD3.
Then the Speechless?
1985 is better than Ghetto Reporter.
That's about where it stops.
Yeah. I was on my Magic 1. I was on my Magic 1.
Okay. No, Speechless. I mean, Speechless is a top 5 Nas intro song, so I ain't even know competing with. Like, Speechless is one of the best intro songs he's ever done in his career. Like, the Stillmatic intro is better. The message is better.
Okay.
I mean,
well, since we're talking about Nas intros, let's start at the top of the album and just give thoughts track by track. Where it stands with you today. Let's start with Ghetto Reporter. What were your thoughts when you first heard Ghetto Reporter, and where does that track stand with you now?
My thoughts are still the same, actually, which is I thought Ghetto Reporter actually hurt this album because the songs that follow it are so much supremely better than it. The biggest problem with Ghetto Reporter is that legit Thun, Mike, and Quincy and 30 come up right after it. And so it doesn't measure up to those records. And so, no, I actually think the weakest part of this album is probably the beginning. And I said that when it first came out, and I kind of stand on that today.
But is that a problem though? Because if you in a vacuum, Ghetto Reporter is a great song, like you talked about Serious Interlude and you talked about Recession Proof. If you objectively don't think it's as good as the 30s, the Michael and Quincy's, the Thuns, is that a bad thing? Because if you're saying the lower tier songs on this album are those, that's a good problem to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is AG, but we have to be objective and be like, well, if we think he's the greatest MC of all time, he has to get graded on that curve as well. He has to get graded like he's the greatest. And so if we're grading him like he's but if we're grading him like he's the greatest, then when you're the greatest, what are you fighting? What is LeBron James and Tom Brady fighting at the end of their careers? The younger version of themselves, right? Now, let's go look at some of his intro songs and songs that have started out some of his projects and tell me the Ghetto Reporter measures up, because that's my objective opinion is that, well, it doesn't, because it's him.
Nas has some great intros. Ghetto Reporter is nowhere close to the top.
It's not, but it fits this, though. To me, Ghetto Reporter fits this. It's the setup to the remainder part of this album. Because think about what's track number 2.
Legit, yeah.
That's pretty high.
It's all the way up for me. It's the best song on KD3 in my opinion. Like, it's my favorite song on KD3. But that's what I mean. So you go for me personally, I'm going from what I think might be the worst song to what I think is the best song to start the album. So that means the album starts off uneven, in my opinion.
But I see what you're saying, Coop, because if you're talking about the 6 album run, all the intros of the Hit Boy albums, Ghetto Reporter would be last.
Ain't no might. I think I like Ghetto Reporter maybe better than the King. I don't like the King's Disease. KD1 and KD3 got the weakest intros.
I love the KD1 intro.
Okay.
I don't. I feel like his timing is off.
But Speechless, Fever, and I will put those at the top. Speechless and Fever. Those would be my top 2.
I see what y'all saying. I get what y'all saying, but I think Ghetto Reporter is the proper setup for the remainder of the album. I don't think the intent was to come out the gate and make a statement. I think the intent was to set a certain tone, and then you go. Because think about it, your second song is the eye catcher, it's the ear catcher.
Yes.
Song.
Hit Boy lost his mind.
You need something to set the tone for that second song. In my opinion, if I'm looking at the sequencing, I need something mild to set me up for what's coming after this.
So you would rather have like, an ascension from track 1 to track 2 than, a decline going punch you in the mouth out the gate, and then the second track not as strong.
Yes, because Ghetto
I got you.
Reporter, think about the record itself, the Ghetto Reporter, the title itself.
Hmm.
It goes back to what Nas always considered himself. I'm
Correct.
speaking for the hood. I'm speaking for the ghetto. I'm a ghetto reporter. This is KD3. I'm going to set the tone for what's to come after this. This is me warming things up. It's more the context on what he's spitting, not so much as the beat, not so much as the aesthetic of the beat. It's more about what he's saying in Ghetto Reporter for me.
I agree. And Coop, I spoke to this before you hopped on. If nothing else, the song is a proclamation because he said on the song that KD3, goes harder than Magic 1, KD1, or KD2. So
Yes.
that was a bold statement on a song that you're saying is not one of the best songs on the album. So he had to
Yes.
deliver on everything that came after that. Because if he didn't come out of the gate, strong, then he had to deliver. And boy, he did. He did on the, next handful of tracks.
And he's talking after Ghetto Reporter. He's
Right.
yes.
No, I don't. I don't want to make it seem like I don't enjoy Ghetto Reporter, and I don't want to make it seem like it's not a solid record. But think about, how about this? Is the song a 5? Because the songs right after it are 5, and
Oh,
so you can
absolutely.
tell how good the song is not. You can tell how good the song is not based on the songs that come after it. If you're just isolating it as a song and putting it in a vacuum, you're like, oh, this is another dope Nas record. But if you're
Mhm.
putting it in context of even comparing it to the stuff on this album, and to me, the best high end stuff is on the front half of the album for the most part, it's like, well, it just doesn't measure up. Like, you want to know, how about this? Think about this. Let's swap the intros to Magic and KD3, which we think are the strongest projects. Imagine Speechless to start off KD3. If Speechless starts KD3 off, we're talking about where it ranks all time in terms of
Yeah.
like all-time greatest albums. Because imagine the run of Speechless, Legit, Thun, Mike and Quincy, 30. That might be one of the best song runs of his career, if not the best song run of his career. We could have a legitimate
I,
conversation about that.
I feel you, but the tone of Speechless is different, so it wouldn't necessarily fit, with the KD songs. But I see what you're saying. How you feel, and I hate to bring Jay-Z in the conversation, but how you feel about the 1-2 punch of Ghetto Reporter going into Legit is always how I felt about December 4th going into What More Can I Say on the Black Album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not okay. So I'm not big on December 4th because of the songs that come right after. It's like, well, what more can I
Yeah.
say? And Encore just kind of make you realize it's like, oh, well, December 4th just ain't. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, so I see your sentiment. I see what you mean. But let's get into Legit next. What's y'all's thoughts on Legit and how Hit Boy flipped a sample of the classic movie that we came up with? What's y'all's thoughts on that?
Ridiculous.
It's the best song on the album, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's the
Oh
best
my
I'm
song
not
on the
mad
album.
at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me. I mean, and Sean, you can kind of speak to this when we get to Thun. It's like, for most people, I think Thun was the record, at least for New Yorkers, where they were like, no, that's the best joint on there. And I'm like, nah. I didn't argue with so many New York cats about Legit over Thun.
Yeah.
I think for Legit, it's Hit Boy's magnum opus as far as the song. Like, that's when people's eyes open for real. Like, Hit Boy is a fool with these beats. And for him to take that sample and use that, and nobody else had thought about that prior to that point, I think he really got a lot of people on board, and a lot of people respected him more after that.
Yes.
That sample has been literally in plain sight for all rap and R&B producers to see for over 2 decades.
Facts.
Right.
So the most brilliant thing about the beat is actually the fact that he heard and saw something that nobody has heard or saw for the past 2 decades, guys. 2 decades
Facts.
that sample's been hanging out there. And think about how many times we all reference that movie and quote stuff from it and joke about it and all that
All
stuff.
the time.
Specifically the part he took from. That's one of the
Exactly.
more memorable parts of the movie that stays with you. And so the fact that he's the one that took it and freak it, I can't give him any higher marks for a producer, because when I look at it this way, that's something a prime Pete Rock does. That's something a prime DJ Premier does.
Mm-hmm.
That's something a prime Large Professor does. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
a prime Q-Tip. Like, that's the type of move they would pull.
Yep.
And so And so that's what I'm saying. No. That's a legendary move right there when you pull that
Well,
sample and like make it work.
well, I'm glad you brought that up because if different people do certain things, it's held in higher regard. If Kanye would have did that, I mean,
Mm.
people wouldn't stop talking about it. If
We'd
Kanye
still be
flipped that
talking.
sample,
We'd
Yeah.
still be talking about it if Kanye did that sample.
right?
We'd still be talking about that song. They'd be like, man, but he pulled that sample for legit from the Five Heartbeats and the Eddie Kane and even took the whole voice and stretched it out and chopped it. Nah, they would probably be building a statue for Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Like if he were to do that. But that's the thing about being Kanye versus being hit, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. I said it last night on station that when we did the sample, why no one thought about this before?
That's the first thing I said. I said, oh my God. I said we've all messed up. Like us
All
as
messed
listeners
up.
too. Because like the hip hop community as a whole, somebody like how about this? I got put on the Stove God by one of the followers from my previous pod. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes your artists take the information and the aspirations of the fan base. So just think about it. Nobody as a hip hop fan has ever said, hey, somebody should really use that Five Heartbeat sample with the Eddie Kane singing. You know
No
what I
one.
mean? Like we as
No.
fans didn't say anything either. Like sometimes
Right.
we rely on the producers, but sometimes the producers rely on the fans for the information and the inspiration. And that's what I mean about for me, it's one of the greatest sample pulls of all time because we all missed it. Like the hip hop community missed it, the
Everyone missed
producers missed it, the fans missed it, the MCs missed it, everybody missed it. It's a shining moment for him. It is.
it. It is. And it's
You
right
know,
in front of you. When you first hear it, like, that's it. It's not like,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
that's it.
exactly what I was going to say. Music is so subjective, and people's tastes are different. But if you came from, how we came up and that being a, hood classic or whatever, I think that's one moment where collectively a whole fan base had the same reaction. Like if we was listening to it, we tapped in right at midnight and track number 2 come on. I think collectively 100% of the fan base was like, oh shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's
You,
one of those moments.
It is, AG. You're totally right because you want to know what it does for the listener after hearing Ghetto Reporter. And this is what I mean. It's a good track and you're impressed. When Legit comes on, you're like, oh shit, this album might be a classic. That's the first thought.
After
It's like,
track 2. Yeah.
right. It's like when
yeah,
you hear track 2, you're like, oh no.
we
This is
going
how
somewhere.
this
Yeah,
is
we
how
going
hip hop
somewhere.
Yep.
this is how hip hop classics start off. We're going
Yeah,
Yep.
somewhere.
we
And then
going somewhere.
Thun drops and
Right.
it's like, oh my God. And then
It
like a
gets it
Quincy
gets
drops.
more evident. It gets more
Right.
evident. So let's go there. Track number 3. So
AJ,
what y'all
got the super chats. Get the super chats up real quick.
okay. Go ahead and throw them up. Yo, shout out to CJ with the $2 super chat. WTF is Coop. LOL.
CJ,
Yeah,
crazy.
Coop's getting off work, man.
Yeah.
Yo,
Had to put
007, peace. Thanks for the $2 super chat. Queens get the money. Second verse of Smoking is poetry in motion. I
Absolutely.
grew to like it more over the years, but initially I didn't like it when it first came out.
I
So
Yeah,
love Smoking.
love smoke.
I love all of the verses of Smoking. It's the third verse for me, Queen.
Third verse is the man.
Kyle, what up, 007? Yeah, it's
Third
the
verse
third
is
verse
the
for
man.
me on Smoking.
yeah, where he says the pledge, that was always my favorite part.
Oh, yeah.
CJ the Kid with the $5 super chat, appreciate it. Sean waiting for DJ Capone and Block Burners to do shout outs on Magic One. Laugh out loud.
Yo, CJ, wow, man.
CJ again with the $2 super chat, appreciate you. Rank all of Nas's intro songs. Man, Nas got like shit. He got like 25 albums almost, but like Coop was saying, Speechless is one of those ones that's close to the top. And,
Yes,
to Coop's point, Ghetto Reporter would be close to the bottom. And then you got joints in there that like you might not even be thinking about. Surviving the Time off Greatest Hits. You know what I mean? You got Firm Fiasco off the Firm. These are joints that you might not even be putting in the mix, but he has a slew of great intros. I actually made a playlist of them one time.
I
One of
love
the
Firm
best in the
Fiasco.
game.
I love Firm Fiasco.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But thoughts on Thun, Sean? I want you to lead with this one, man, because this is about Queens, man. Queens get the money.
Queens get the money for sure. When I first heard Thun, man, I think I played Thun, I don't know, man, double digits, 10, 12 times back to back. I couldn't get enough of Thun, honestly. It's one of those records. I think I told Coop, it's funny because I remember, I think I messaged Coop and I was like, yo, this is it. We
Yeah.
here. We here. I think I mentioned that to Cool a
No,
while
no, you
back.
did. You did.
We
You
here.
did.
I
You did.
did.
We was
Like,
texting while when the album dropped. Right.
we were just when the album dropped. Like, yo, we here. This is it. This is the one. Um,
Right.
the whole this is one of the first times you hear Nas rap with so much bravado, even mentioning, calling Jay and talking about Ether, and I had
It's
to
the
do
best.
it for Queens.
It's the
This is
best
the
part.
first time
It's
that
the
you
best
hear
part.
this. It's
The
it's
best part.
it's it's refreshing to hear that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And Message Jehovah, listen to Takeover. You know what I mean? Then he goes in at the end of it to readdress the whole thing with flip on KRS-One.
Yes, brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
so let's address the fact that part of what makes KD3 special, and you hear it on Thun, and Thun is really where it starts because legit and Ghetto Reporter really don't cover it. Well,
Yep.
okay, so it's been told to me plenty of times, like, he and I've been in the same room with this dude so many times, but he and I have never had a conversation. But it has been said to me by people who have that, he is very, very witty and charismatic and funny behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his archetype as an MC is he's always seen as more serious and mystic and mysterious and content driven. When he says those lines about Jay
Mm-hmm.
on Takeover and talking about the whole takeovers and all that, he sounds normal. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
it's so rare to hear him sound and talk like a normal hood nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know
Right.
he's a hood dude, but he's different. And he's always been different. When you hear him talk like that, it's like, oh no, he is just like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that is part of what makes KD3 special to me too, is because there is something relatable about this album that's
Yes.
not as like, I feel like he makes albums that relate to your struggle more than you relate to him as a person. I can
Yeah.
relate to the things he is saying as a person on KD3, and this is part of it. It's like, so you are petty like the rest of us. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? On
Yeah.
Serious Interlude, it's like, oh, you are having woman problems like the rest of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah,
And
because go ahead, AJ.
super petty because
Super petty.
when I
I
heard
knew
the
he was
line,
petty.
I laughed the hardest, just thinking like, damn, he won the battle, and he's still
No,
thinking like, yo, you said this, and I don't like that. Like,
no, my
Yeah.
first thought when he made that line was, I was like, he is super petty like me. I knew it. I knew he's super petty like me. It's like you
I
won,
said
you don't want to let it go. I know what it's
Yeah.
like. I'll win at something and I'll still be like, no, I didn't beat him bad enough.
It's like, rubbing in your face. Pause. Like, I'm rubbing. Like, yo, I'm dissecting.
Rub it in your face is wild, but
I
yeah.
said pause. Say pause. I said pause.
yo, but let's speak to Hit Boy's genius real quick, man, because to get the actual New York train sounds in the beat, like, you know what I mean, just all the different elements in there, taking the sample, and you know what I mean. Let's talk to Hit Boy's genius on the song as well. To not be from New York
That's
and
crazy.
to be able to capture that gritty New York boom bap aesthetic with the song. Like, a lot of people, if you told somebody that Havoc did this beat, they would believe it.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. It sounds like a Havoc beat. That's why.
You know, so let's speak to Hit Boy's genius on the song as well before we move on to the next one.
Well, Sean, you mind if I go?
Yeah, go, please. I need
I
you to
mean,
go for it.
this is inside information coming from Taj. Okay, so KD3 is also kind of like important to me on a personal level because that's when me and Taj kind of met and like started talking. And so me and Taj started talking in August. You know what I'm saying? So when by November, she's already telling me stuff. You get what I'm saying? And one of the things that she told me is that, Nas wanted some New York essence on this album. So he actually sent Hit to New York to like the train sample. No, that really came from the train in New York
Mm-hmm.
because Nas told Hit he wanted some New York. So he literally had Hit recording the New York streets, like for sample purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought that that's that that's that behind the scenes intangible thing. That's like having Preem there to do the scratches. It's like, oh, Preem's there to do the scratches. Hit's taking samples of what New York actually sounds like. Those are the things that classics are made of. It's those small touches. It's like, well, we know Hit's making great beats by the time KD3 comes out. We know Nas is Nas. He's been Nas since '91. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we know what the beats and the rhymes sound like. What does the life of the album sound like? That screeching on the train tracks, that's the life of the album.
Yeah,
That's authentic. And so
right.
like, yeah, Hit gave, Hit gave Nas on this album. I mean, and you kind of said it. He gave him kind of the best of everybody that he'd had before. It's like, well, the horns are Pete Rock level. The creepy beat breaks are Havoc level. The scratches are Preem level because Preem's the one doing the fucking scratches. You know what I'm saying? So there's a level on here that Hit is executing production wise, and this was the album that I heard was like, oh no, you can't name 10 better producers all time than him that can do this because I don't know 10 producers that can make these different sounds on one album.
No, and not even that. Just the ability to humble yourself. If Nas, asked of him to do that, to actually carry through and do that, to humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, stuff like that goes a long way because you're trying to curate a classic product. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's those little touches that go the extra mile. You know what I mean? When making an album. So, shout out to Hit and Nas for coming up with these like little, extra concepts to make the album what it was.
It's
You
attention to
got something to add to that, Sean?
It's attention to detail because they sample the bridge is over. They sample ESG. They sample Shireen. I can't pronounce like Ma Telerega or something like that. They sample all of that just to make Thun. And aesthetically, it does sound like it's a vintage Havoc beat or an LES beat, something from Queensbridge, something from that 95, 96 circa, right? It has that aesthetic to it, which gives but an updated version of that, right? So it gives you that extra pop, if you're listening to it, especially when you see the word Thun, and you see Thun as a title, and you're from Queens, you got Thun and you got the Kiko, and you got the Thun language, you got the Kiko, Thun and Kiko, right? You see Thun, I'm going crazy on Thun. You can't just play around with the song and you title it Thun. And he gave you what it's supposed to be. But you're saying, I'm in my Range Rover dissecting the bars from Takeover. You know what I mean? He's letting you know this is aggressive. This is supposed to be aggressive. But I'm doing this so eloquently. I'm doing it in a space where I'm not coming as controversial to get the buzz. I'm just reflecting on something I never talked about on record after I made the album. He never talked about Ethan. He never talked about Ethan.
No.
We've never heard him mention it. He cringed when he has to talk about it in interviews when they kind of piece everything up. So for him to talk about it in this sense on Thun, and then he said, I had to hold it down for Queens. Come on, man. What more do you want? What do you want?
Hold on. What do you think about this? Like when I listen to Thun the beat, it sounds like something that drum wise Q-Tip would have programmed for the Infamous, but it has some of the eerie sentiments of Hell on Earth. And so what I would tell you is I actually think of Prodigy when I think of this beat. And I think, obviously because of Thun, when I think of Thun, I think of P.
Yeah, that's by design. That's by design.
But when I listen to this beat, this is also the type of beat I could see P telling Half, no, I don't want to rap on that. I want something a little bit darker. But for somebody like Nas, who's a little bit more versatile than P and repping the same borough, it's like, oh no, the beat is perfect for Nas, and that is really this is where you can tell Hit knows Nas and how to record Nas, because it's like, oh no, this is the beat breaks and the soul sample and all that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? This is the beat break and the soul samples and the loop. Yeah.
And what he didn't know, he went back and studied. It's on record. Hit talking about he going back listening to I Am, and it was written to see these pockets that Nas like to be in. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, I believe he was listening to some guy doing a podcast that made him go do that digging. I wonder where that guy is.
He's on witness protection in the dark right now.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, and I like how you talked about, Prodigy might not rhyme over it. It's in his wheelhouse, but like Nas is more versatile. The thing about Thun is crazy. He's rhyming with the vigor on it that he did on Live Nigga Rap, and that was, like 25 years prior.
Yeah. Mad thunderous.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but we gotta move on. Next up, number 4, another highlight. Michael and Quincy. You know what I'm saying? And that's a bold proclamation in and of itself
Yeah.
to say that, you know what I'm saying? We, you know, Nas called Hit Boy is Quincy, and we the new Michael and Quincy. Rest in peace, Quincy Jones. But this track is definitely a highlight. What do you fellas got to say about it?
Cool. Lead us off, man. This your baby right here. This was yours.
Okay, so Mike and Quincy to me is when Hit elevates into that top 10 producer status. This is the beat. This is the beat. And I say this respectfully. Oh, the beat's better than the rhymes on this song. I'm gonna say that again. The beat's better than the rhymes on this song.
It's like six beat switches.
You know how great you have to be as a beat maker for the beat to be better than Nas when Nas is on his shit. You get what I'm saying? That's why people don't understand the clip that Hit is hitting that on this album. It's like, oh no, some of these beats are better than some of the rhymes on this album, and we know what the guy rhyming is capable of doing. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that last verse is crazy though. Nas left first.
He did.
It's crazy. I think the beat's crazier. I think this might be the best beat on the album.
It's so much going on.
It's a
You know,
lot.
it's like six beat switches, and you know, it was just Nas had to catch every pocket. Like, you know, this was just Hit Boy showing off, right?
This is him pulling out his versatile bag. It's like, who you need me to sound like? Because I can sound like all of them on one track. This is it. Because I can hear other great producers on this track. I actually hear Dre on here. I hear Q-Tip on here. I can hear Pete Rock on here. I hear Large Pro on. This is like he's pulling from so many places, and I think this track is the most appropriate place that shows how versatile he is. Because like you said, with all the beat switches and stuff, but I'm talking about like the bass line, the drums, the snares. It's like, no, this he on some rap shit. It's just modernized. And this is what people from our era need to realize. Hit updated Nas's formula that he went to other producers for. This is Salah Remy's formula updated. You get what I'm saying? This is Havoc's formula updated. This is Large Pro updated. This is Preem updated. As in, stop holding on to all that old shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. We got new flavor, new style here. So Mike and Quincy to me is them being modernized. It's like, you know, Nas is so well known as that nostalgic MC. This isn't nostalgic. This is now. Hit has Nas operating in the now on Mike and Quincy, and that's hard to get him to do. So those are my thoughts on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Cool, because it does. It updates the whole drive. It updates everything. What up, Jar? What up, Jar? It updates everything. It changes. It gives you that extra punch. It gives you that extra bass, that extra boom. It just everything sounds clear and clean. Like to your point, you know, Nas, you know, we talk about Salah Remy. Salah Remy is a dope, one of the dopest producers out there that ever came through. But Hit Boy
He not hit.
Not like that.
Hit, though.
Not like that. When that beat switch up and that 808 start dropping and everything start kicking in, Salam can't do that. Respect the Salam Remy, but Salam Remy can do that. Straight up.
Respect the Salah. I mean, like, okay, so KD3 is better than Godson. So is Magic.
Yeah.
Production-wise,
yeah.
Production-wise, those projects are better than Godson, which is what people hold Salah so high for when it comes to the Nas shit. And it's like, oh, well, these beats are better, quite frankly. It's like there's no Made You Look on any of these, but I mean, shit. I mean, me personally, I think Made You Look's a top 25 beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, outside of Made You Look, these beats are better, the producer is better, and it's nothing against Salah, like you said. But that's what I mean about what makes Hit so special is that Hit is actually, and you all will appreciate this, well, he's a student of the game like we are. Like, I was kind of saying it in jest, but think about it. He got hip to me because I was talking about Nas's old projects that he wasn't as familiar with. He's what I like to call one of the modern day Stillmatic niggas. So is Taj. So everything before Stillmatic is Hit shit. Stillmatic is Taj's shit. So for them, they don't swear by it was written in Illmatic like we do.
They're younger. Yeah.
They're younger. And so they have to go somewhere to get their buy-in on it. I just did not know that I was part of the buy-in until he interviewed me. I was like, hold on, you've been watching me for years, nigga? I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna keep him cool while I'm watching. But that's part of what makes him a student of the game is that he will watch some independent podcast from some guy that was born in Charlotte and raised in Atlanta about a rapper from Queens. He's humble, Sean, like you said.
Super humble.
Super humble.
Yeah.
Super humble.
But speaking to your go ahead, Sean.
Now, that whole team is, you know, we talk about hip hop very heavy, but you know, think about David Kim, the engineer.
Mhm.
You know, David actually helping curate a lot of the sound that we're hearing, that we're talking about as well. You know, when he was on station there, that's one of the things that he talked about as well, about just being able to continue to keep pace with someone like Hit Boy, a genius like Hit Boy, and keep
Mhm.
pace with the output of music that was coming constantly, and being able to get in there in the lab and really put this whole thing together. So of course, you know, when you got a team like that, when everyone is going for one common cause, you're going to get good quality out of that. You're going to always get
Right.
good quality out of that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Before we move on to the next track, I just want to speak to the point that Coop made. Nas said in the interview, you know, Coop spoke to the fact that what Hit Boy is doing on the track compared to what Nas is doing on the track, right? Nas said in the interview before that Hit takes it up here and then he has to meet him here. You know what I mean? And I think the second verse of Michael and Quincy is evidence of that. You know, because Nas just spazzes out on that second verse, but I think he realizes what Hit was doing with the beat. Like, I have to take the rhyme into a whole nother level just so I can meet him on this plane. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we're hearing on the track. And with that, we'll move on to track number 5. And I want Coop to speak on this. This is 30 because, you know, Coop, you was at the Garden, and, you know, I wasn't fortunate enough to be there that night. I wanted to try to make some things happen to go, but I wasn't able to, you know, work obligations and different stuff. But when I watched the YouTube video of it, 30 was palpable as far as the energy in the room. And I think it's one of those ones that in Nas's catalog that damn near rivals Made You Look as far as the energy it sends throughout the crowd. And can you speak a little bit to that song and how epic it was live?
I feel like 30. I feel like 30 was the biggest banger that I heard when I was in the Garden. Just truthfully speaking, like if I'm picking a
I believe
record
it.
that like rang out in the building when 30 came, I'm talking about the way that it sounded. That was the point that made me realize it's like, oh shit. I was like, he's giving this guy stadium flow too, because I hadn't heard it in a stadium yet to realize how truly stadium flow it was. And it's sneaky good. And I don't want to bring up Kanye again. And we all know Hit studied under Kanye. Kanye stadium flow is obvious.
Hmm.
Like when you can't tell me nothing comes on, it's like, oh, he done switched the stadium flow. He trying to sell out the stadium now. You hear it when you hear I can't tell you nothing. When you hear something like 30, you don't realize that it's stadium flow until you're in the stadium. And there's something about that that is genius to me. Because it's a reflection of Hit. It's subtle, it's humble, it's unassuming. Because when it
Hmm.
hit, and I'm about to, and we all talked about it, I'm about to start dropping the footage. Like to shout out the old podcast for sending me out there to let me get the footage. I didn't drop the footage because I knew motherfuckers was 30. You like that? It's going on this channel. It's going on this channel. I still ain't dropped my KD3 footage. Take that, weak niggas. Take that, weak ass niggas.
Wow, yeah.
All right.
No.
But 30, but my footage of 30, we gonna drop my footage of 30 tomorrow. I can remember when I grabbed the phone. I remember the stadium was shaking, my dude. Garden was
Yeah.
shaking.
You could
Yeah.
tell. You could tell.
Oh, I can tell. I got the vibration. It
Mhm.
wasn't. It was not low vibrational levels like he says on WTF SMH. It was high vibration, like very, very high. So I think that's, to me, this is the stadium flow of the album.
Mhm. It's one of them ones. What you got, Sean?
Hey guys, give me 2 seconds. I hate to cut y'all short. I'm stepping off. I'm gonna stay on, but
All
like
right.
I need to mute out for 2 minutes. One of the
Yeah.
people who I came up in this business with that actually taught me how to get money behind the bar, she died last week, and her husband was my first real boss in this business, and they're having a memorial for her right quick, and I need to step up in here and say hello and speak to everybody right quick. So I'm gonna step.
Condolences.
So yeah, I'm gonna stay on, but I'm gonna be on mute for a second. So y'all have to carry for a second because I need to speak and break bread with the people because this is important. And this is 20, 25 years of knowing people, and she's gone now. So I gotta do the right thing by the people.
No doubt. No doubt.
No doubt.
So
No doubt.
just give me a second. I'm keeping the cam on, but I'm taking the mic off for a second. But I'm gonna jump in when I need to and stuff and step out. But I need to go say hello and pay my respects.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for me, 30 is what Sun needed. Need that stadium music, right? Again, Coop was over there. I was texting Coop, I was like, yo, because Coop was actually he was in QB. He was at 4016 building and everything. And I was texting him. He was like, yo, man, some dude keeps staring at me. Yo, you may want to get
Yo, yo,
across.
yo. Yo. Real quick before I walk in. Oh, so me and 007 had to pull a whole move. The niggas in QB was trying to pull a move on us. They didn't know we were street dudes. Like they knew I was out of town. Like they could smell the out of town on me, but they ain't know. It's like, oh no, I'm from the street. I see you moving. Like me and 007 was like, you seen that? I was like, I seen that too. I was like, we are going right here. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's like this. Like, I'm gonna tell you what. I realize how niggas get fucked up in the bridge. You can get lost in the bridge if you don't know the bridge. Like both me and Double O. Like
yeah,
Double O ain't never really been to the bridge like that, even though he from Far Rock. Oh no,
yeah.
but I realized that day. I was like, both me and Double O, we both got good natural navigational sense, and we needed it that day to get out the hood. Cause them niggas was about to pull a move in broad daylight. I was like, are these niggas pulling a move in broad daylight? I was like, I'm on probation. I didn't have my pistol. I was like, this is some bullshit.
It happens.
Yo,
Yeah,
crazy.
but go ahead and jump back in, Sean. That's my bad. I just wanted to share that. Like, no, that was real. That really happened. Like we really had to make a move. Like
Who's
move. It's like hold on. It's like where the car at? It's like, oh, the car right there. I was like, oh, they seen us park. We need we need to make it back to the car and peel out, my G.
Yo, it was crazy. I was like, yo, man, get up on the other side of the road. Don't take any more pictures. Just keep it moving. I said, right now, you food right now. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even understand it. You're food right now. But nah, 30 is what Sun needed because it's a stadium song. It's something that you can play at the concert. It's going to get everything moving. It's gonna bang out, man, straight up. And playing it at MSG was huge. Playing at the Garden is huge. And when that song came on, the Garden went crazy. The Garden caught fire, and he needed that because Nas not an artist that's known for those type of stadium songs because that's not what he does. He doesn't do those things, right? But when you got 30 and he's rapping like that on 30, not many rappers can do that. Not many
No.
rappers can rap in that. Not as far as I'm talking about rapping in cadence. I'm talking about saying what he's saying. Not many rappers can spit that on a beat like that with
Yeah.
that much bravado and that much not just experience, but also that much confidence.
I
So
ain't have to climb back. I just climbed the Porsches, then double down.
then double down. Then double down. Not many can do that. So yeah, it's one of those. Definitely one of those.
That's a fact. Next, and that was a hell of a run, by the way, on the first, number 2 to number 5. Then we got Hood to Hood, which is another dope track. You know what I'm saying? It got a lot of West Coast vibes. What's your thoughts on Hood to Hood, Sean?
I love Hood to Hood. I love Hood to Hood, man. Again, another change of pace. Hood to Hood is another change of pace for us. It's something that is very laid back, low chill. It gives you another piece of the pie to the album. Again, we talked about the body of the album, right? We talk about just how important this album is from track to track and the sequencing. Hood to Hood, to me, is the way it's placed, to me, it sets the second half of the album as well,
Mm-hmm.
the way it's placed. Because you got 30. 30,
Yeah.
you on this top, you up here on 30.
Mm-hmm.
So now you need Hood to Hood to bring you back down just a little bit. Let's get back into that comfy zone before we get into the other parts of the album. Because think about all the songs we just mentioned before we got to Hood to Hood.
Right. It's all about pacing. It's like watching a great movie. The pacing is perfect. What Hit Boy did and Nas did with sequencing this album. It's pretty flawless. So good point.
You got to catch your breath now, right?
Good
after
point.
30, you got to catch your breath. You can't go high again after 30. You got to catch your breath. And to me, Hood to Hood is that one that allows you to catch your breath.
Good point. And I love this record. Like, you know what I'm saying? This record makes you want to drive through Cali in the drop. You know what I'm saying? With the sunshine out. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Hood to Hood is one of those records that I'm talking about. It's like, oh, well, we're fans of his. How do people who are not having him number one all time look at this record? Because they'll tell you that record's just okay. What are y'all thoughts about the people who will dissent and don't love Hood to Hood? My former co-host said it reminded him of To Live and Die in L.A. I said, you have gone too far. I said, you have gone too far.
It's good, but it's not that good.
Not
like,
that
let's
good.
not get crazy.
Tripping.
Yeah,
Said you were tripping. I said, he's my number one. I said, you were tripping.
Yeah.
So, but does it have the Cali vibe to it? Is it a Cali vibe? So I feel like I feel like sometimes, and once again, this goes back to the humility and the subtle nature of it. Well, Nas has to get in Hit's bag. Hit is from California. He is from SoCal. He is from Southern California. This sounds Southern California to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's that relationship. You know what I'm saying? They making a project, like, well, I'm gonna, let you take the lead on this one, and I'm gonna let you take the lead on the next one. You know what I'm saying? And we'll meet halfway. It's a compromise. So it's dope. Like, and we talked about Hit being humble. Let's talk about the humility and humbleness of Nas, of allowing an up and coming producer like Hit Boy actually produce him. That's Nas is arguably the greatest MC of all time. We all think he is, but Hit. A lot of people say he wasn't established like that, but he's letting Hit take the reins on a lot of these tracks. So
Nas has always been a forward thinker, and we always know that. And I don't think he would ever necessarily admit this. Oh no, he needed Hit though, and
absolutely.
he knew that before we did.
Yep.
Like it got said to me, and this might have been Taj too. This might have been some of the early conversations with Taj. Nas's whole career point for the second half of his career, guys, has been to make sure that he doesn't end up on tour with his idols. I'm going to say that again. His main goal the second half of his career is to make sure that he doesn't end up on tour with his idols. So let's unpack and let's see what that means. That means, no. I'm not going and doing shows for 20 years just rapping Illmatic, It Was Written, and I Am. And not, you get what I'm saying? I'm not just going to go rap my classics from when I was in my prime. I am going to create modern day material to keep on performing and recording and staying active. And when you look at it, mission accomplished, because really, he's been on the road consistently pretty much since this run started with new material. Meanwhile, and I'm not saying this is what I mean about his forward thinking nature. Oh, well, he notices that the people he looked up to, specifically Rakim, KRS-One, Cool G Rap, Slick Rick, Big Daddy Kane. Well, you do understand most of these guys find themselves on tickets together doing what they like to call the adult hip hop contemporary circuit. I know because I've been to one of the shows with Kane, KRS, Rakim, and Kool Moe Dee. You know how easy it would. You know how easy it would be for people to insert Nas into that based on Illmatic and It Was Written, and he knows that. And so this actually pairing with Hit is one of the best strategic moves of his career because it's extending the shelf life of his performance life, which is where artists make their real money.
Yeah. I mean, he did the whole Garden concert. The first half of the concert was all new material. And then he did the classic material after that on the second half of the show. So yeah, you're right about that. He's given us a career a lot more legs.
Yeah. But this is a conscious effort, is what I'm saying. Like he wants to be able to perform The World Is Yours right next to Legit. You get what I'm saying? If he's on the tour, if he ends up on that tour with Kane and Rakim and all them, like if he settles for that, if he accepts that, then he doesn't even ever reach out to Hit. And so even dealing with Hit is the level up. This is a level up, guys. You get what I'm saying? It's like this is him actually stepping his game up, looking at his predecessors. Like he did an interview a long time ago, guys, where he was actually talking about Big after Big was gone. And he was talking about how him and Big used to have conversations about how they didn't want to be fucked up and fucked up in the pocket like the people they looked up to.
Right.
So this is something that's been on his mind since he made Illmatic, since before Illmatic. While Illmatic was being made, he is thinking, how can I raise the bar for my contemporaries that came before me? How can I outlast a Kane, a KRS-One, a Rakim? What do I need to do? And what he's done is switch speeds and pick different producers. And that's why, if you've really been following his career, that's why I hate these no knowledge having, backwards ass, trapped in the 90s ass niggas. It's all, I want him to work with Preem again. And it's like, oh, he worked with Preem again. He on the Old Man tour 15 years ago, nigga. No.
Well, that's why it's more appropriate to double back and work with Preem now after he's shown that he can do this, getting a whole new bag.
But you get what I'm saying? It doesn't happen until the new bag. How about this? He needed to make modern day classics in order to go back. Not classic, because here's what you have with Life is Good. You have a modern day classic. And for some people, that classic is borderline. I have been one of those people for a long time. And so what this run has given him, specifically KD3 and Magic, is like, oh no, he has modern day classic material.
Yeah.
Modern day classic material that doesn't sound like the old stuff. Like
no,
Thun,
not at all.
Thun is as old as it gets, and Thun sounds very, very new and very, very fresh.
Mhm.
Does.
And I personally play this Hit Boy run more than I play his old stuff currently, so I'm going back to it more often.
Well, you're in a different space in your life. See, we're in the space of our life of enjoying things. So we do not want to hear Nas rapping about the dark cloud hanging over him, nigga. We are not 15 years old in the projects anymore. We are 40-year-old men with houses and mortgages and bills due and cars and children growing up and responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that shit. I meant that when I said it's like I don't listen. Like, how about this? And people gonna think this is crazy. My favorite Tupac song is probably "So Many Tears," but I'll
Mine
play.
too.
But
Yeah.
I will play. AG, you'll understand this. I'll play "How Do You Want It Now" before I play "So Many Tears." You want to know why? Because
Oh,
"So
yeah.
Many Tears" is reflective of that 13-year-old kid that's in the projects on the west side of Charlotte that don't know how he getting out. He just fighting to get out. 43-year-old me is like, right, nigga, how do you want it? How does it feel?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, So Many Tears put you in a different mode, man.
Right. I'm not in that mode anymore, and I'm not trying to fucking reenact my depression and anxiety and all that shit. It's like I survived the hood, nigga. It's like I don't want to hear that shit today. It's like, is it cool to hear? Sometimes it's like, yeah, but I'd rather hear "How Do You Want It?" And I know "So Many Tears" as a record is blowing "How Do You Want It" out the water. But what do I want to listen to at 43 years old? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I want to talk about how I'm shedding so many tears still. It's like,
No.
no. I want to talk about "How Do You Want It?" How does it feel? Coming up as a nigga in the cash game, living in the fast lane. It's all no. It's like the grown ass version of me relates to that more. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so same thing going on with Nas and the modern day thing. It's like, oh, I still love Memory Lane. I don't listen to Memory Lane anymore, guys.
Well, he has songs within that same vein now, but updated. Later in the track list, he got songs like "First Time" that's comparable to Memory Lane. You know what I'm saying? So
That song is not comparable to Memory Lane, but I understand what you were saying.
the same aesthetic. You go to Moments, it's like continuation of the same theme. Nas is great at taking the same theme and tweaking it just a little bit to make it something new. Like "Define My Name" currently is a tweak of Nas is a tweak of "It Ain't Hard to Tell." Is, you know what I'm saying? He just tweaks it just a little bit to
Yeah.
come up with a new concept.
Moments
It's
off
a
KD
different lane.
too. Moments off KD too.
Right.
That's that nostalgic bag that he
Right.
thrives in. He thrives in the nostalgic bag. I feel like he makes those tracks inherently. That's natural.
Oh, he does those in his sleep.
He does
But
those in his
let's
sleep.
go get through the rest of this track list real quick. Number 7 is my favorite joint. Personally, like we talked about, Recession Proof. And the reason why it's my favorite just because of what he's doing on there lyrically, like the internal rhyme schemes, like, and I like the black exploitation beat of it. You know what I'm saying? The like shaft style beat, and then you got. He's just going crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? From a Census Bureau, they put up a killer's mural. It's a different world with 30 shot clips of curl, melon pop. Like John Fitzgerald with his girl in the drop. If he could get hit, then anybody can get got. Like, he's going crazy on there. Even the hook, you know what I'm saying? Can't be out here moving sloppy. Movie lobby, they shot him out of his 2 Hirachis. I'm on a yacht, new smash, old smash with a newer body. New makes, new models. I can't let him stop me. He is like,
when he said
bar
old
wise,
smash,
he's going off. Going
Think
off.
about this. If Jay says that line, we were talking about how misogynistic Jay is.
Oh, yeah. But Nas is
did
in
you
his
just say
bag.
old smash with a newer body? I was like, did you just say old smash with a newer body, nigga? It's
Right.
like, oh, that's. I was like, you are the worst.
And it's braggadocio Nas. He says, Knicks game up in the seats. I rarely hit the floor. Ain't trying to sit across from somebody's lady. I hit before. Top of 4 quarter, I escape. I hit the liquor store. Lambo and Venador. Maybach with a mini bar. Met a girl from Senegal. Told her about Mega Evers. Like, he is going bananas all over this track, yo. But this is my favorite. Guys, take it away. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely one of my favorites. If not it might be my favorite. Even the story with him in Jungle. That's my favorite. This is my favorite. I love the beat.
Yeah, like, selling all Jungle's work and then paying them back. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. And again, we talk about from hood to hood. I'm talking about Recession Proof. We don't talk enough about Nas' songwriting ability. Not rapping. I'm talking about songwriting ability. Able to really put a masterclass on writing a song, a hook, a bridge, bar, everything. Well-rounded MC. He's the rapper's rapper, MC's MC. Straight up. He's a rapper and he's an MC. He's a master of ceremony and he's a rapper. and
Yeah.
he's a writer, and you see that in songs like Hood to Hood to a song like Recession Proof, on how he's
So
telling you a story. He bobbing and weaving out of a story into another story, into rapping.
Yeah.
Come on,
It's
man.
crazy. Masterful. Masterful.
Wonderful. He does it
so
effortlessly.
so Sean, I agree with you, and I'll share this. In my opinion, if we're talking about songwriting, and let's look at it not through a hip hop lens, let's look at it through a musical lens.
Mhm.
Songwriting is key to artistry. Most of our artists that we hold all time high, they are either all time great songwriters or all time great performers. When you're at the highest level, you're both. See Michael Jackson and Prince,
Mhm.
has been an all time great songwriter and an all time great performer. I do not think Nas is an all time great performer, and I don't think Tupac is either. But as far as hip hop is concerned, they are our two best songwriters, and I don't think whoever is in third place is close. Just
I
so
think
we're clear.
Nas has grown into an all-time great performer. He wasn't that initially early in his career, but I think, in the latter years of his career, he grew to that. Because
A,
I've seen Nas live
AG,
three
I'm gonna.
three or four times in different stages of his career, and it's a totally different bag now.
Me too. I was at the Garden. It was one of the best rap performances I've ever seen. But
Mm.
realistically speaking, he's still not a top 10 rap performer all time. And so I'm going to be objective and tell you the only thing that he's not top 10 all time at in terms of rap is his performances. But as far as songwriting, Tupac is the only one in his stratosphere. As in terms of when you're talking about the bridge, the hook, the cadence, the subject matter, the lyrical ability, the staying power of the song. Musically, those guys, you can tell. How about this? If Nas and Tupac never rap, oh no, they are published writers and poets, and you get what I'm
Mm.
saying.
Right,
They are
right.
their writing hand is just so supreme, and their ability to craft stuff innately and piece it together and it fit and be understandable and digestible and palatable for the masses. They're just the two best songwriters we've ever had. Songwriters. That's why when people like, how about this? I had a dude. He was like telling me. I was like, so you got a verse? I'm like, you taking Kiss? You taking Nas? He said a verse. He said I'm taking Kiss. I'm like, okay. I was like, you got to make a song. Who you taking? He's like, I'm taking Nas. I'm like, why you taking Nas over Kiss for the verse? He's like, Kiss gonna say some fly shit that I like for 16 bars. He's like, but if I want the song to sound great, he's like, I'm gonna take Nas, and that's the thing that
That's the
separates.
difference.
That's the thing. Listen, that's the thing that separates him from all the other A+1 lyricists. A+1 lyricist. That's what separates him from Black Thought. That's what separates him from Big Pun. That even what separates him from Rakim, because Rakim's hooks ain't like that. You get what I'm
Nope.
saying? That's what separates him from G-Rap. That's what separates him from KRS. It's like, no. Nas can write the complete song. He can write all the verses at the level all those guys can, but he is a better bridge writer. He is a better content writer. He is a better hook writer than all of those guys.
Yeah.
He is our best songwriter.
Yeah.
He's
He don't
not a
get enough credit for his hook game.
his hook
Facts.
his hook
Yeah.
game is top 10. He be on the back end of the top 10, but his hook game's top 10 all time.
Yeah.
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 And so something like this with Recession Proof. Recession Proof to me is one of those songs. I'm not as big a fan of it as you guys are, but it is one of those songs where I'm like, man, look at these songwriting skills.
I love
Look at these
Recession Proof.
look at these all-time great songwriting skills by this rapper who
It's
can
on full
write these.
display. It's on
It's
full
on full
display.
it's on full display.
Absolutely. I know some other things on full display, but I'm gonna address them at another time.
Okay.
Heard your jokes. Got your jokes.
What joke? Who got joke?
Don't worry about it. They know who they are. Game
Who in the
time.
chat? Somebody
Game
in the
time.
chat? Look here.
Not
I'm not
just that, but they know who they are. But
okay.
don't
I'm
open
not
that door. I'm gonna just say
okay.
like this: open that door because we got something in our possession, and you don't want that. I promise you.
Look here. I don't know who
I
talking
promise you, you
reckless.
don't want that.
I
I
know
can
who talking
assure
reckless.
you don't want us to put you on blast. We kept everything amicable, and we stayed away from certain things for a reason. But don't get it twisted. You see the
Okay.
picture. You see a picture on YouTube. Don't get that shit twisted. Straight up, I can be in New York next week, baby. Let's keep it G. Straight up and down. You talk about me and my homie. I know what it is. We know what it is. Don't get it. Please don't think this is WWE. This ain't WWE over
No.
here.
I'm off probation in about 20 days. I hope it's not a problem.
Man, I would have somebody in that studio. Don't get
I
it
hope it's
twisted.
not a problem. I hope it's not a problem. We don't have no problems, are we? We ain't
Let's
having no
keep it
problems,
a
are we?
G. Let's keep it a G. This shirt costs more than that whole pod. Let's keep it a G, baby. Come on, man. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Don't play
Okay.
games. Don't play games with the kid. Please don't play games. We can laugh. We can joke. We do it all the time. But don't be disrespectful, please.
Oh, yeah.
We laugh and joke and disrespect each other all the time, but we know that we are laughing and joking with each other.
Please.
We
Please
just
don't.
did it. Look, we just did it when we were in North Carolina.
I'm gonna say this when we keep it moving
Fact.
out of here. Don't activate the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean?
Word.
Don't activate the Winter Soldier. We
My
got something
paperwork-
out. We got
my
something
pa-
out of possession.
My
Trust me on
paperwork
that.
almost done. I'd
Trust
hate
me
that.
on that, Daddy. You know what it is. We got
I
something
hate-
out of possession. Trust me
I-
on that. But let's keep
I
it
hate-
moving. Let's keep it moving.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You back
I'm
at the
sorry.
crib, cool?
I'm
I
sorry.
am at the crib. I'm just a little
All right.
pissed off because if it's what I'm thinking it is, it's like, oh no, it's like to not play with me right now while my fucking
Yeah.
freedom is almost got me free. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I'll end up right back on the motherfucking papers again and pay the lawyer.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
All right.
Okay.
We not them though. We not them. We not them. Believe that. But anyhow, let's go to the next one so we can get up out of here.
Like just real quick, Sean. Like no, Sean, real quick. It's like people asked me to do this. This wasn't my plan. I wanted to write and stay behind the scenes. And about this shit, like right here, is exactly why. So I could just roll up on a motherfucker if I wanted to. All right.
I mean, we know how we was in Carolina, so you know what I mean. I'll just leave it at that.
Please don't.
So next we got we didn't hit Reminisce. Reminisce, the Mary J. Blige sample.
Love Reminisce.
The opening bar says it all. The opening bar says it all. You know, he didn't have to die for people to say he was great. You know, but people said it from day one. Didn't take a couple of projects. You know what I'm saying?
That's the best bar on the album. He was like, I was always the best. People said it from day one. As in, while Biggie and Tupac were here,
right?
While they were here, the conversation was that I was the best. While they were here,
while we were all walking around. Yep.
While we were all walking around, and who's the guy that they feared the most while they were walking around? That guy. And they'll both tell you that. The Outlaws have said, oh, no, Pac used to listen to Nas all the time. What Bad Boy and Big and them say all the time? Oh, no, Big listen to Nas all the time. So the people everybody had at the top while they was out, who are those two guys checking for? And so when he said that on the first verse, I'm like, and that's Sean where you're right. It's like, oh, no, hit, put him in his talk your shit bag. Like, no, talk your shit, my nigga. Because Hit pretty much telling him like, oh no, you last man standing out here. Ain't nobody even walking around even fucking with you.
Like you said, I'm the one. Y'all know I'm the one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one. So I didn't have to go through all of this to be chosen as the one. I was the one since inception. Since you heard me on Barbecue, I was the one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That was him. Yeah, that's that
from first verse. Yeah.
First verse. We say, oh, that's the golden child. That's the one. Because after that, what shifted? Hip hop shifted. He shifted after that. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to talk about that, and you're going to do it over a Mary J. sample.
Well, he changed the culture because he brought rhymes back, guys. Like outside of Wu-Tang, and specifically outside of Enter the Wu-Tang, New York was not rapping. There's nothing personal. They can take it and say what you want about it. Oh, y'all wasn't fucking with Ice Cube and Snoop and Pac in the early 90s. No, you weren't.
Right.
You could think like all that bar work. Yeah, them niggas are looking at you. It's like, yeah, we rap just as good as you, except we're going triple, quadruple, quintuple platinum over here. We rapping just as good as you niggas. We definitely outselling. Niggas is selling 500,000 records. We selling 5 million records, 3 million records, 4 million records, 3 million records, double platinum, triple. And we rap just as well as you. And so what Nas and Wu and Big really changed was just like, oh no, we got to do numbers. That's why it was written. It sounds the way it does. It's like, oh no, he's like, nigga, I cannot sell 300,000 fucking copies of Illmatic and compete with Snoop. Snoop is selling 5 million records, nigga. This shit is not about to work.
Exactly.
Not. It's not.
Exactly.
It's not.
So next we got up. Oh, hold on. Before we go past Reminisce, the beat switch at the end though, going to the drill joint.
I don't like that part.
Oh, come on, Coop. Come on,
I don't
Coop.
like it. I
I
like
just
it.
love the hit. To me,
Get
that's
off.
just hit showing off his versatility, man. I loved it.
Get off my lawn. I don't want to hear that shit. Next.
Come on,
Get
Coop.
off my lawn. Get
All
off my
right,
lawn.
moving on. Serious interlude
No,
next, number 9,
that's my
which is actually a
shit.
full song, ironically enough.
That's my shit. First of all, it's not an interlude. Those are lies. It's a full record. The only guest appearance on this album is from an R&B nigga. It's Mario on this
Mario.
record.
Vocals
So
is
only
crazy.
guest appearance. Vocals are dope. But this is one of those records I feel like, and this is why I go into the objective side of it. It's like, oh no, if you don't love this record the way that I do, I totally understand. So you have to be able to relate to a record like this. So like first, most of you dudes are not used to pulling the baddest woman in the room, and that is okay. Okay, I do not have those problems, unfortunately. So I do relate to this record. You niggas that don't relate to this record, you've never had no 10-piece. You know what I'm saying? You're not used to. You're not
Right.
consistently. You're not used to pulling dime pieces. Coop
Right.
is.
It's
So
like they're
Coop
not used
relates.
to, like they're not used to getting shoes. They get some kicks and be like, "Yo, I got the new kicks." Man,
It's like it doesn't matter.
300 back, 300, 400 back here, man. Get out of here.
No,
Fucking idiots.
that's what I'm saying. Like when I tell people, it's like I was
Goofies,
like, no,
man.
I was like, I've
Yeah.
given away most of my shoe collection. They're like, why do you do that? It's like because I've had the shoes for a
Look,
long
I got
time.
some
nigga.
shoes. Don't step on your
Right.
tippy toe and increase them.
Right,
I
I
can crease
don't-
every shoe back here. I can
Look
crease
here.
every shoe back here and still gonna pay for more. I mean,
That's why I'm saying when you have lived a certain type of way, like
funny.
I mean, like y'all know what's going on with my car shit right now, like everything and
Yeah.
how I've been moving and stuff. People are like, Coop, like
Crease every shoe.
you're not worried about the car. I'm like, motherfucker, I've owned like 12 or 13 cars. So look like I'm fucking worried. Do this for a living.
It's the Coupon activated.
Drive the whips, pull the
Yeah.
chicks, talk the
Right.
shit. And
And
this is
crease-
that.
and crease shoes. And crease them up.
Not crease shoes. Not he said I'm gonna lean on it.
I can afford
Yo,
some
when
more.
you got as many kicks as us, you wouldn't even be caring, bro.
First of all, y'all niggas shoe
Yeah.
game is wild. My shoe game used to be like that, but I gave away about 75 pairs of shoes
Yeah.
over the course of about 3
Nigga
years.
got to have a whole room for shoes. I got extra room in my house just dedicated to sneakers.
Right.
For the
I mean,
hell of it.
I'm not joking. I got designer clothes that I can count how many times I've worn them, and they're still sitting in my car. They're like, I'm not like when you live in a certain type of life, a certain type of way. It's like certain shit stop mattering after a while. Like when I went to Vegas, I copped a couple pieces. I've yet to put anything on for them motherfuckers. It's still in the fucking tag.
Yeah.
Hold on, Vegas, Minneapolis. Oh, nigga, I be on the move.
You
Minneapolis.
still got them gloves.
Gloves.
Sir,
Don't
the
bring
gloves are still in the
gloves
box.
out,
The
man.
gloves are in the box. Gloves are in the box. Gloves are in the box. Gloves are in the box still.
Yeah, I know they are. Oh,
All you ladies, when I put these on and I point Lake Minnetonka for all you hoes. Lake Minnetonka.
yeah. Yo,
I
next
met a
we
chick from
got
Minnesota. I met a chick from Minnesota tonight that actually works on Lake Minnetonka. She's a real estate broker. I was like, I told these hoes to get in Lake Minnetonka. She said, "Don't do that. I work right there, Coop." I said, "I'm
It's
sorry."
the gloves,
Like to
man. The
apologize.
gloves attract
I
that.
apologize.
The gloves attract that.
I can afford to keep these gloves in the box, nigga. You want to know I can afford to keep these gloves in the box? Because I got other designer pair of leather gloves. These can stay in the
gloves
box.
yeah.
About this life.
If it don't fit, you must have quit. All right, so
Serious.
number 10, I'm
Hold
on.
on. Just long story short. Serious interlude is for you weak ass niggas that ain't never had nothing, never did nothing, never had no chick. Weak ass niggas don't understand. You're
Right.
lame. Been lame
Right.
your whole life.
Yo, I
They'll
see
never
the
relate.
I see the double entendre Coop you did that because you know what I'm saying. Nas said the chick looked like Sheila E. and you pulled out the Prince gloves. I
You
see
like
the
that?
double entendre.
You like
Don't ask him how.
You thinking, Coop. You thinking.
Yo,
Yes.
next we got number 10. I'm on fire. This might be my favorite production
This the
on
shit.
the album.
That's the shit.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
Love the production on here.
I'm on fire. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
on fire. The beat, the sample. This is the second best sample on the album.
Oh yeah, we played that last night in Station Head, right, Sean?
We did. Dope joint.
Yep. So just keeping it moving.
Hold on. I'm on fire. Top half or bottom half in terms of song quality?
Top half.
Top half.
Just because of the attention
Are
to
you
detail,
sure?
like the
hold on.
Hit Boy put in the video game, Yoga Flame from Street Fighter, the He's on Fire from NBA Jam. Like the attention to detail on that song is crazy. So
Okay, so when you're saying that, this is what I'm saying. So how many tracks are on this album?
17.
17.
17. So top half would means it's one of the 8 best songs.
Yeah, I'm rolling with that.
No. Listen to what I'm about to say.
On
This
this
is why-
album, or just in general?
No, on this album. I'm speaking in
album?
general. So this is what I'm saying. So I don't know about you guys, but when I listen to this album, I do have this song in the top half, but I have this song at like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Which means this album's a classic. This is the 8th best song.
Yeah,
Right.
If this
correct.
is the 7th or 8th best song, this is
Right.
the shit that classic rap albums are made of. So when people are like, "Oh, it's not a classic," I'm like, there are 7 songs better than "I'm on Fire."
Right. Right. No, for sure.
Like
That's
like
six
like,
volumes.
like Thun, Mike Quincy, 30, Reminisce. That 5 is certain, right? Those 5 are certain.
Yes. Yes.
You think I'm from the way y'all are talking, y'all think Hood to Hood is better too.
No, I don't think Hood to Hood is better than I'm on Fire. I like I'm on Fire better.
You think Recession Proof is better?
Of course, that's my favorite. And I
that
think it's
would
objectively better too.
So that was
that personally over it. Yeah.
WTF SMH?
It'll crack the top 10 for me.
Yeah.
Okay. I got WTF SMH right ahead of this record.
Yeah.
But
That's my
that would-
second favorite production of the album, WTF SMH, after I'm on Fire.
I mean, we'll talk about it, but that's my favorite moment of the album, and I'll explain why in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, that's actually next up. So go ahead, Coop. You know what I'm saying? WTF SMH is number 11.
This is the most underrated song on this album and the most underappreciated song on this album. And I said this when it came out. So let's go back to Thun right quick. And we're talking about, Nas being humanized by being willing to talk about Jay-Z in the battle in a joking, sarcastic, reflective type of manner. Do you understand how big this record would be if Jay were to do this record?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why this record is big to me. Imagine if Jay came on a beat talking about WTF SMH. My jewelry is disgusting, but let's discuss the taste. I'm in another place. This whole shit is in shambles. Low vibrational levels. Riders never get canceled. Listen to me. Just those bars right there, that's GOAT talk if Jay makes that song. Be like, this is why he's the greatest MC of all time. Did you hear what he just said and how he flipped it and put it together?